Hello neighbor, Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner, live with another Stampin' Sunday card class. Our last one did not end well, and I did not get back to it. Remember how I said that last year was a little bit of a rough one? I think I said that. This year is well, it's better, but it's still a little on the rough side. So tonight we are going to be making the card that we were intending to make the last time, along with some other cards, hopefully 2 other cards. So we should have 3 cards total. And if you want to, I'm trying really hard to get this class thing down. So tonight's class is free. Everything I show you is free. However, if you would like to receive the kit to make all of these cards, all you have to do is place an order and choose me as your demonstrator by Saturday at 11:59 a.m. Okay, so that gives me time to order this. Then I would order the supplies. I will cut them, prepare them for you when they come, and I will ship them directly to you so that all you need are your stamps and ink and adhesive. And you'll be able to put these cards together. So let's go ahead and get started tonight. If you are here and you can like and comment, that helps me out. The comments let me know that you're here for sure. And the likes, of course, always help with the algorithms. I don't know what that means, but hopefully more people will see the video. All right, let's turn our camera around and we're going to get started. I'm excited about what I have to show you tonight. This is my little scrap paper. I really like this. I really like watercolor, and we're going to do a little bit of watercoloring. I'm not sure what the 3rd card will be, but we're working on Valentine's. So Valentine's and love. I don't know if you're a Valentine holiday person or not, but I love all the cute little hearts and the love, so that's what we're doing. So this is going to be our first card. Isn't that cute? He's a little bear. And we're going to use this Valentine Kisses stamp set. Okay, so there's a stamp set and a die. You're going to want both. If you just have the stamp set, you can obviously make anything work. But if you have both, you're going to be much, much happier. All right, so first, I cut some of my pieces ahead of time so that, hi Janelle, I cut some of my pieces ahead of time so that I wouldn't be too flustered while I was on the camera, and hopefully everything will go really smooth. So first you're going to need a piece of basic white, and this is thick basic white. I like to use that for card bases. You can use just regular basic white or whatever you have. I just like my cards to be a little more sturdy, especially for the people that I know I'm going to send them to, who actually keep them for a little while and sometimes even put them on display. So you're going to take your piece of basic white cardstock and you're going to cut it at 4 1/4. Okay, so if I had a piece, I just want to show you in case you're new to card making. So cardstock comes in 8.5 by 11, regular paper size, right? This is the thick basic white. So when you're cutting it at 4 1/4, you're cutting it in half this long way. Oh, I keep getting my head under the camera today. I have it at a little different angle. So let me know if you can see well or not, and I'll try to keep my head out of the way. All right, so you're going to put it here at 4 1/4, and you're going to cut it down the middle. I'm not going to do that right now because I may need this for something else. but I already have this one that I cut. And then you're going to turn it sideways and you're going to score it at 5.5. So if your trimmer does not have a scoring blade, all you're going to do is fold it in half and press that little line. Okay, and then you are going to cut a piece of real red cardstock, and that is 3 3/4 by 5. That's going to layer on top like this. And then you're going to cut a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Now, I don't usually do 1/8 measurements, but I like how thin the border was around this. I just wanted a real skinny border, so I did an 1/8 instead of the usual 1/4. Okay, so there is that. And next I want to show you, I'm going to get this other piece of cardstock ready because I'm going to need that in a minute. Next I want to show you how I did this watercoloring. Okay, see how behind that bear there's this little watercolor? I'm going to show you how I did that. So you're going to need a water painter, your real red ink pad. Now this is an older one. The new ones don't look like this. And I have a little water in this Stampin' spritzer. So you can fill these with whatever liquid you choose. They come in packs of 2, but I really like these. I like to have one for water and one for rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is comes in handy now and then for removing sticky stuff and all kinds of crafty uses. I can't think of a better word. All right, and inside my watercolor, my water painter is just some water, which I may need more of, but hopefully I have a little bottle down here somewhere. Okay, so we're gonna take our classic Stampin' pad, and Stampin' Up! Ink is water soluble. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's like squishing. I'm squeezing it probably too hard. All right, and then we're gonna open it up and see all that beautiful red ink that I just squished onto the lid. And what we're gonna do is take our spritzer. We're gonna spritz a little bit of water in there, and I only squirted it one time, so you don't need a lot. We're gonna squeeze our watercolor pen. Let's see if I can show you. Until you see the water in here. You're gonna see that drip coming through. I don't know if you can see it or not. All right, because we want our brush to be good and damp. Okay, now we're gonna swirl our water painter in the ink. And this is kind of a bigger water painter because I wanted the color to be big. Okay. Once we do that, all right, we're gonna put our, and now this is basic white cardstock. So if you're using water with your basic white cardstock, you need to move quickly, okay? Because it will warp your paper. And we're gonna hold it to the side as much as we can. Like, I'm not holding it so it's pointing down. I'm holding it on the side. Okay, and then we're gonna swish real quick like that. And this is actually a much nicer swish than my first one. At least I think it is. I suppose everyone has their own take on that, whether or not you like the swish. Okay, and our cards tonight, we're actually going to be kind of trying to follow a similar sketch for each of them. So I wanted to show you how you can take one card and copy it and kind of turn it into different things. All right, we're gonna need this again in a minute, but not yet. So we're gonna set this to the side while it dries. And then we need a piece of basic white, and we're gonna stamp our little bear next. Okay, so we're gonna pull him out, and you could use any of the little bears, but I really like this one right here. So he is coming out, and then we're going to put him on a block, and this is block D. Sometimes I like to turn my stamps so that they're diagonal like that. I don't know why, I just do. All right, and then we're going to take our Memento Black Tuxedo ink. I will be writing up the instructions for this week. I did not get it done before. All right, and I'm actually going to practice stamp a little bit just to make sure that my bear is inked up all the way. I don't always do that, but I really want him to look nice on here. Okay, so we're gonna stamp him just like that, and clean off our stamp. I wonder if I could get it to zoom in a little bit so that, let's see. All right, hold on. Let me, oh, no. I thought maybe I could scoot it around. Oh, look at that. Okay. There we go. That way you can see what's going on. Sorry, I just heard a message come in, and I'm trying to make sure no one's trying to tell me that I'm messing something up. Okay, there is our little bear. Then we need Petal Pink Stampin' Blend. And I'm just gonna color his ears. So if you want to, you could color the whole bear. I tried it a couple times and I wasn't super happy with my own results, and so I'm not doing that. Sometimes if things aren't exactly the way I picture them in my mind, I get a little frustrated. Okay, we're gonna cut him out. Inside our dies, there are shapes for each of the bears. Okay, so all 3 bears have a die. This bear, actually, when you cut it out, it could hold something. His little arms do have a slot where you could put his bouquet or a little heart or any number of things. If you wanted to. If you wanted to give him something to hold, you could. Okay, here is our little bear. He's super cute. Okay, and then we're also going to cut out this little banner, and we're going to put that by our sentiment. We're going to cut that out in real red. Okay. Now this is a little bit, it's a little bit stuck in here. So I'm just going to get my take your pick tool and poke that little guy out. Janelle, I'm throwing this piece of scrap away. I know that we're similar in that way. We have to save and save and save, but I'm throwing it away. We have been doing some cleaning out, and I've learned that I save too much. Okay, here's our little bear. Here is our little banner. And then we need a piece of a little strip of basic white for our sentiment. Now in my little bin over here, I got this little bin at the Dollar Tree. This is one of my favorite things. So on the right side, I have more square pieces like rectangles, strips, just little extra bits that I can use for a sentiment here and there. In the center, I have pieces that I've cut out. And then here on the left, I usually have these little cutout shapes that I could use for stencil, and a couple little gems or embellishments, and usually some snacks. But as you can see, my little snack bag is empty. But if you don't have one of these little bins, you might need one for your crafting space. It's nice because it's clear, and so I can see to the bottom. And every once in a while, I just dump it out and start something new, right? Oh, sorry, I got my head in front of the... This must not be a good spot for my camera. All right, we need our Happy Valentine's Day stamp. Okay, and that's right here. And then we also need our little tiny hearts. So in here there are a little set of 3 hearts. That's right, if it's less than an inch, it has to go. It was less than an inch. Well, left at the end there. Has to go, it has to go. All right, we need our real red ink. And we're going to stamp our Happy Valentine's Day. All right, I'm going to practice again because I had a little trouble with this red earlier. And I did just use a lot of it, right, for my watercoloring. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to huff on it just a little. Okay, the camera looks good. Good. I keep getting my head in front of it. I'm trying not to, though. All right, now we're going to stamp our Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, it's a little crooked. All right, I'm going to try again on the other side. Maybe no one would notice, but I definitely know. Okay. Let's try that one more time. There we go. I think that's better. It's not centered perfectly, but it's not as crooked. Okay, there's our Happy Valentine's Day. And we're going to trim that at an angle. Okay, so we're just going to snip both ends here. All right. Now we can go back to our watercolor piece, and it's dry now. So now we can stamp our little hearts. See how it's not too, it didn't bend too much? I'll show you one later that I got too wet and Uh, I'm not 100% happy with it, but it'll do for some things. All right, so now we're gonna stamp our little hearts around. And I found with these little hearts, if you press really hard, you'll get like a smudgy outline. So you don't want to do that. You just want to press firmly, but you don't want to smash them into your ink or your paper. Okay, there's our little hearts. I don't know if you guys have been, but I have been so cold lately. It's been extremely hard for me to get down in the basement to craft. Not that I can't turn the heat up, but sometimes I have to turn it up way too much. All right, let's put our card together. So we're going to turn our basic white over, and I'm using my liquid glue. You can use whatever glue you like the best. Some people like a tape runner. Some people like tear and tape. That works really good if you're out someplace and you need to make a card but you don't want to get sticky. Tear and tape works really well. And it's very sturdy tape too. So if you're working on a 3D project, it works good for that. Okay, there is our base, and then we're going to stick this right down flat to our card. Okay, so a little more liquid glue, and look, see, I've got a thin line around the edge and a squiggle in the middle. That's the way I always like to do my glue. Okay, and then we're going to put that, it's trying to scoot off on me. Right in the center. Okay. And then we're going to pop up our little bear with our dimensionals. And I have these little leftover guys from the edges. I was chopping them all up just before I went live. I'm so glad that the camera is working tonight. I was afraid that my Wi-Fi would mess up and we would have a situation like last time, but I'm really glad we didn't. Okay, let's put our little bear right here, and then on our I can't think what this is called right now, our little banner, maybe banner. It reminds me of those little things that hang over your windows, you know, an awning, like an awning. We used to have awnings, but we don't anymore. All right, and then we're just going to glue that on the edge of our sentiment. I just put a little skinny line on there so we could glue them together. Okay, and then we can turn it over and put on some Stampin' dimensionals. Okay. Take their backs off. And my other one, I covered up his little feet, but I think I don't want to cover up his little feet. They're cute. I'm going to put it just below. Oh, I think it's crooked. There. Okay, so there is our first card for tonight. Isn't that cute? He's such a cute little bear. There is our first Valentine card for tonight. Now wait till I show you the next one. I think you're really going to like all of them. I don't know what the third one will be yet, but we'll see together. Okay, there's the first one. I'll leave it out there for a minute while I tidy up my space, because you know I have to put my stamps away or I won't be able to find them. I'm going to give them a quick clean and put them right away. I hope you're all doing well and staying warm. I know it's cold across most of the country. My kids have been hoping for way more snow days than they have actually received. But they're definitely thankful for the ones they did get. And so am I. It really is nice to have a little break once in a while. I know, his little feet are so cute, aren't they, Janelle? I don't want to cover them up. All right, so there is our first card. I'm trying to figure out where I can put everything until I put it away for good. Now for our second card. All right, and like I already told you, I don't know what the third card will be. I know what stamp set we're using, but I don't know what it'll be. All right, so this is our next card. Isn't that cool? Okay, let me show you how we're going to do this one. So we're cutting our card the same way. It's 4 1/4 by 11, and we're going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay, I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit so you can see where I'm at here. Here, okay, I don't know where my face is on your screen, but hopefully I scooted it over to the left so that you can see where I'm scoring. Okay, so we're gonna score at 5 1/2, just right here. And then we're gonna turn to the other side and we're gonna score at 2 3/4. Okay, right there. All right, now we're gonna fold our card in half. Right, that'd be the 5 1/2, and then we're going to fold the front back at that 2 3/4 mark. Okay, so then your card's going to go open like this. So it's kind of a fun fold. All right, next we're going to do our watercolor because it needs a minute to dry. So we're going to cut our basic white 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. I know we're doing a lot of 8s tonight. And then we need Calypso Coral ink and our water painter and our spritzer again. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom you back in. Did that work? I don't think it did. Wrong thing. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Here we go. One of these days, I'm going to have this so figured out. You guys are going to be really impressed by my digital prowess, but it's probably not going to be today. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with our Calypso Coral. We're going to squeeze our ink pad. And I'm going to move this out of the way. It's just so I don't get it all inked up. All right, I didn't squeeze it enough. I got to squeeze a little more. You really want to get quite a bit of ink on there. Okay, here we go. And this time I want to try something a little bit different than what I tried the first time. I'm hoping it's going to work out. Okay, I gave it a little spritz of water. Now, I'm going to make sure that my water painter doesn't have a whole lot of red left in it because we're using orange next. Not orange, but Calypso Coral. All right, and remember we're going to squeeze our water pen until we see the water coming up in here and then dripping out the end. We want it to be good and, whoops, sorry. We want it to be good and wet, okay? And then we're going to swirl it around in that Calypso Coral ink. Okay, and this time we're going to start in the center. All right, ready? We're going to go this way. Hold on. There we go. All right, and then this way. And I'm trying to make it kind of even, but I have to be really careful. Like, we have to be careful because if we get too much water on our paper, it will wrinkle up. And I can show you an example because I did that earlier. Look how it's, all right, see how my card's kind of bendy? And then right here, can you see that little lump right there? It's because my paper got too wet. Actually, I started on one side of this paper and flipped it over to the other side because I didn't like the first way it looked. And then I flipped it back again. So I really, really overdid what I should have done. Okay, now we're going to set that aside to dry. And this set is from, it's called Words of Beauty Dies. So there's the Words of Beauty Dies stamp set and Petals of Beauty stamps and dies that go with it too. So there's a lot that's in this suite, but I really, really like it. Okay, we are going to cut out, now this one comes, this is kind of fun. So it comes with the bubble word and it comes with the skinny word. So we're going to cut out the bubble word in our Petals of Beauty Designer Series paper. And we're going to cut out the skinny part of the word in this gold foil. Okay? Yes, that is because it's not watercolor paper. I just used the basic white instead of watercolor paper. I shouldn't have done that. Really, if I was gonna put that much water on it, but I didn't plan on doing that. It's just kind of how it happened. So you can use basic white with the watercolor painters. Yeah, I think that's what how you would say it. Water painters. And you can use them with watercolor pencils. You can use them with ink. But you just have to be mindful because it can't handle very much water before it starts to fall apart. All right, I am die cutting those two words. Okay, and they come out really nice. Now, I did want to give you one little tip. If you are having trouble, sometimes these fine cut things will start to stick in your dies, especially if there's like a lot of skinny spaces. What I like to do, what I find is really helpful, and I can't find it now. I must have tossed it. Oh, here it is I take a dryer sheet, and this one is used just once, but I just rub it along die. You can do the same thing if you rub it on the plates of the machine or on the front of your paper. If you've already stamped on the paper though, it can sometimes smear. But if you take a little dryer sheet and rub it on there, then the next couple cuts are a little bit waxy and they will come right out of there. So if you ever have trouble with it sticking, that's one option for that. It definitely can rip. It will tear up, but it will also warp. Now see how it's a little bit bent? This will be able to be straightened out fairly well, but if I were to keep going and let it get a little, like if I were to do something on the other side, it probably would warp. Yeah, and to a point where you couldn't straighten it back out. I did try earlier with my heat tool to flatten it. No dice. All right, now I'm gonna stick my words together. So I have my bubble word in the designer series paper, and then I have my gold foil word. And what I'm gonna do is turn it over, and I'm gonna take my liquid glue, and I'm just gonna put some little dots strategically around on my word. And that'll be enough to stick it down. But I don't want to put too much on because I don't want it oozing all around the sides. So if you just put a little tiny, you're just squeezing that liquid glue the tiniest bit. I don't know if you can see how tiny those little specks of glue are. You don't need very much at all. Those dryer sheets work really good, and you would just throw them out otherwise, right? So it's another good use for a dryer sheet. Now, I do have a friend who tried running the dryer sheet through with the dye, and I can tell you that that is not helpful. So just so you know, you are more than welcome to try it yourself if you would like, but it doesn't work the same way. She was a good sport about it. Very good sport about it. Okay, so here is our word. Isn't that pretty? I love that gold foil. I love the silver foil too, but the gold is really pretty layered on the words. I bet it would be pretty with the vellum too. All right, we're going to set that up there. And then to save us a little bit of time, I die cut this shape already out of basic white. And that is one of these shapes from the Words of Beauty dies. Okay, so there's a long one, a short one, and then kind of a chubby one, right? And then we also have our bubble words. I don't know why there's two bubble words for each word, but there is. Okay, so we're gonna set those to the side, and then we want, this comes with a lot of words. Let me see if I can show you. So I love cards that say just because, but this one you can say just because. Kind, sweet, you're a great friend, it's your birthday, I appreciate you, I think you're amazing, lovely, I love you, you're so, and you've been on my mind. So you could say, you're so kind, you're so sweet, you're so lovely, just because I appreciate you. But you can it really has a lot of combinations of words. Okay, so, and we're going to say I love you because we are concentrating on Valentine's Day, right? Now we're going to open back up our Calypso Coral, I have little gold pieces everywhere now. Okay, and I'm going to get my little scrap sheet. Okay, looks like it's stamping okay. Now, we're going to stamp I love you on our little label in Calypso Quote. I have a little heater under my desk and it turned off. I had to turn it back on. It's down there, my toes are getting cold. Okay. So now we have our I love you. Now we can put our card together. Okay. Because I did cut out our designer series paper already, but I will tell you the measurements for those as we go. Okay, here is our card base. So first we need a piece of designer series paper, and this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I went with a skinny border this time for these. Okay, thin line around the edge and a squiggle down the middle. You guys know I like to leave a little space for my finger where I can turn that piece around. Okay, and then we can just center that. Maybe. Looks like I cut it just a smidge off there. Okay. So there is that. And then we need another piece of designer series paper. This one is 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. We're going to do a thin line around the edge and a squiggle down the middle. I'm going to have to move Mortimer. He's, I feel like I keep reaching across in front of you. All right. So this one is going to go on our front panel. Now you could cut one for this panel here too, but I didn't do that. Okay, there are those. Now, this piece is going to go on a piece of petal pink, and this petal pink is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. We're going to do the same thing with our adhesive, our liquid glue, thin line around the edge, and a squiggle down the middle. Oh yeah, Mortimer's, he's perfectly happy on this side. So, all right. We're going to center that. Now, this part you got to pay attention to, because if you don't, you could close your card and not be able to open it. So we're going to flip this over, grab our dimensionals. We're going to put 2 on the edge and 1 kind of by the middle. Now, we are not going to put any on this side. What we'll do instead is fold this closed and put 2 along the edge over here. That will help keep our card nice and secure. I really want to fold that a little tighter. There we go. Okay, we can take the backs of these off. Flip this over, and while we're holding it closed, we can kind of line it up in the center. Okay. I didn't want to press it down until I was sure. Okay, so there is that part. Now, our little because, we're going to flip that over and put some I'm going to use mini dimensionals on that. I just like to do that with the words. You could use the regular size ones too. I like to use the minis when I can. I like mini things. Okay. I feel like I can have more of them. I don't know. Okay, now we can put this right in our watercolor part. And then we're going to put on our I love you. And we'll put the dimensionals kind of at the bottom of that. Right there. I put them at the top. All that, and I put them at the top. Okay. Let me see if I can squeeze them off, because I didn't put them on real tight. Sometimes if you're careful, you can peel those little dimensionals back up. Sometimes not. Okay, then we're going to stick that I love you right there. Okay, now on the first one, I put a white part on the inside. And this one I haven't done that yet, but you can do that. I'll put that in the instructions, what size it is. So there is our second card for tonight, but you can definitely tell the difference between the two when it comes to which, see that, you can see that, that wavy spot from where I put too much water on that one. Okay. But I'll send it, I'm still going to send it to someone. Okay. Someone still needs to get that card. Now, here we go. Third card we do not have a plan for. Okay. Let's put these stamps away real quick so that they don't get lost. And then I'll show you what we are going to use on the third one. I think you're going to like it. Because it's not really, well, it's a tiny bit flowery. I like its floweriness, but I don't think you would really call it a flowery card. Okay. So on the third one, I wanted to use this Nature's Symphony. Okay. I think I need to zoom you back out for a second. There we go. All right, this is it's a newer stamp set, but I thought we could use I like you lots instead of I love you, and make that be our Valentine idea. So let's do let's do maybe a mossy meadow. That's not super springy, but I do like mossy meadow. And how about if we did very vanilla with it? All right, let's cut our card the other way this time. So we're going to cut it at 5.5. And then we're going to score it at 4.25. Okay, then we can fold it. All right, and then we'll take our mossy meadow And we are going to cut that 3 3/4 by 5. Okay. So here is the 5. And then we're going to turn it to the side and do 3 3/4. Now I don't know exactly how this is going to turn out with vanilla, but we're going to see. Okay, we need a piece of basic vanilla here, not the thick. And this is going to be 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, so we've got 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. Okay, there. Now most of our cutting is done. And I forgot where I put my little mat. Let's see, we're gonna need our water painter, our ink, and our Mossy Meadow. That's our spritzer, not our ink. Okay, and we're gonna squeeze that. And let's give it a little spritz. All right, we can probably zoom back in now. Here we go. Okay, there's our spritz. Now we're going to grab our paper towel. Make sure that we don't have any ink left. We're doing pretty good there. All right. Now, I think let's start at the, we'll just start at the end and go swoosh, okay? So here we go. All right, now we need to let that dry. It's not very dark, is it? But that's all right. I think that'll be fine. Okay, and then let's see what we have here. I think this one will be pretty, and maybe a couple of these little tiny ones. Okay, so let's do this big one in Mossy Meadow. We've got a little piece of Mossy Meadow right over here. Let's see. All right, I think that's going to be really pretty. Let's do these other ones in a little bit of gold. And we'll just tuck them in there. The other thing I want to tell you about die cutting your gold foil is it's really shiny, but it's also very impressionable. So if your cutting plates are starting to look like this, you're going to want to switch them out before you cut any gold foil, because it will leave these marks in your foil. The other thing you can do if you don't have a new plate and you want to cut some gold foil is when you're getting ready to run it through, put a thin piece of printer paper over the top, and that will protect your foil from getting those little marks from the plates. That won't work if you're cutting a lot of gold foil, but if you're just cutting a couple, you could definitely get away with that printer paper in there. Okay, so now we have 2 little gold leaves and 1 of these big leaves. All right, let's see. So we've got this, this, this. Here's our gold leaves, and then I don't know if we should cut out this log. I think we'll just put our sentiment on there. Okay, so here is our I Like You Lots. Now you could definitely do more. I'm not sure if it should go this way. This way. I think I like it best this way. All right, and then we need some. Oh, I'm gonna zoom you back out just a smidge. Okay, some Very Vanilla, and we're gonna cut out our I Like You Lots that we're going to stamp in Mossy Meadow. Okay. So there is our sentiment. And we're just going to trim that one off at the end. Looks like 2 3/4 is about the right size for that. And let's put this together. All right, so we're going to use our liquid glue and attach our Very Vanilla to our Mossy Meadow. Now you could definitely add more to this if you wanted to, but tonight we're just doing some basic cards. I really just wanted to show you how you could take one design like one sketch and turn it into several different cards. You can use whatever you have, because you probably have something, right? We all probably have quite a bit to work with. All right, so now we've got our dimensionals on. We can, oh, hold on. When I folded it, it looked like the edge was a smidge out. If I have one side that's bigger than the other, I always try to put that side in the front. All right, there's that. And then we're gonna glue our leaves down. So I want to, at the bottom here, have it kind of flat, but at the top, I'd like to pop it up a little bit. So I'm gonna glue this part down, and then I'm gonna take a few mini dimensionals and just stick them under the top very carefully. There we go, because I kind of want them to stick out just a little bit, but I don't want them to get too, I don't want them to get too wild. There we go. So it gives it a little bit of dimension up there. Okay, and now we can add our little gold leaves. And I'm going to do the same thing with those. So first, I'm going to cut one of these dimensionals in half because they need a really tiny little piece. Okay, and then I can use my take your pick tool to grab those little pieces. Okay. Then I'll put a little dot of glue down here. The really nice thing about liquid glue, one of the nice things, is you don't need a whole lot to make your project stick together. At least I haven't found that you do. Okay, so now just gonna stick this one right here. This one over here. Now I do need to hold it for just a second so that those will stick down. Okay, and I kind of want this to hang off the bottom a little bit, so I'm going to put my dimensionals up here a little bit towards the top. All right, so now I'm so excited. I think these turned out really good. You'll have to let me know which one is your favorite. So these are our 3 cards for tonight. I'll show you in just one second. Let me put these stamps away. And let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. Okay, so here is the 3rd one. Right, I Like You Lots. That was made using the Nature Symphony stamp set and dies, right? And then here is the second one, Because I Love You. And that one is our fun fold, and that was made using the Petals of Beauty and Words of Beauty. Words of Beauty stamps and the Petals of Beauty Designer Series paper. And then our first one is this super cute little bear, and he was made using the Valentine Kisses bundle. So let me know which one is your favorite, and if you want to get this class, all you have to do is place an order, choose me as your demonstrator by Saturday at 11:59 a.m. Okay, so at noon I'll be tallying up how many orders I have, seeing what I need to place. And as always, please, please, please copy the cards and make them. And when you do, post a picture on my page. I'd love to see what you're creating. And until the next time I see you, happy stamping.